What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're here for episode 26 of our Madden 24 Arizona Cardinals franchise mode, the offseason part 2. Now, it's going to be incredibly difficult to repeat what we accomplished in the offseason part 1, which was our first offseason, because that goes down as one of the all-time greatest offseasons I've ever had in a franchise mode. Arguably the greatest. Now, it wasn't so much what we did in free agency, which is what we're going to go do today. We're going to go through free agency and the draft, because in free agency, well, we got Claypool, who was, a role player for us. We got Alberto, who was a role player because there is a stamina glitch going on right now in our franchise mode. Defensively, the big fish was Grant Delpit, who played well for us last season. I'm happy that the guys that we targeted in free agency, even though it wasn't insane, even though it wasn't like we spent all of our money and made a bunch of big-time moves, every investment we made on the open market hit. So that is, like, at minimum, the bar that I want to hit this year. I don't know if we're going to be gigantic spenders. I don't know if we're going to alter our roster so that we can go make a signing or two. But free agency this year, a little bit more expectations that we're going to do more in free agency than in the draft to improve this squad, because there's just no competing with the draft that we had. There's just no way. We had 2 first-round picks, which makes things a little bit easier to do. But the fact that we got out of this with a 76 center, we got out of this with the best young receiver. Don't even, tight end, wide receiver, all those things combined, this is the hottest player. This is the best player. This is probably the most exciting young player, regardless of position, in the NFL, in Marcus House. And that was all on you guys. The chat. The fans in the comments of the Cardinals franchise said, we need to get this House guy. He looks generational. And we ended up getting him, never looking back. 91 catches, almost 1,700 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he was taken off the second half pretty much all season long ever since we got the goddamn stamina glitch. So, just from the offense alone, that is a ridiculous draft. And then you follow it up with the fact that we got a superstar number 1 overall pick corner who, coming off of a defensive, just DB of the year. Didn't get defensive rookie, but straight up defensive back of the year. And I kind of, corner's not a traditional first overall type pick. And I was like, what would he need to do as a rookie corner to, that justifies a first overall pick? And I think he did that in 2024. 78 tackles, 2 TFLs, 6 interceptions. Probably could have more PBUs. I don't know if those even stat track correctly. But between Marcus House, Kenny Hodges, and then we sprinkled in, you got the human-animal hybrid here, Alex Jones, a defensive tackle. You got other players. I think that is a once-in-a-series, once-in-a-decade type draft that I just, we got Rutledge late. I like that the standard's been set, because now every draft, this draft that we're about to do and every other draft, is going to be compared to the Marcus House, Kenny Hodges draft. So I'm glad that we can kind of chase greatness here a little bit. So a quick recap for how the season ended. So we were really good. Offensively, that is. Defensively, not so much. But offensively, really damn good. Number 1 offense in the NFL. And then, of course, we went one and done in the playoffs. Pulled the Dallas Cowboys. At least we lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion. Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers defeated the Buffalo Bills 41-31 in the Super Bowl, which... Is that truly a way to cope with it? Is that we lost to the eventual champions? Kinda, yeah, sure, maybe. But it definitely had to stew on. That's why we haven't had a freaking Cardinals episode in 2 weeks. I had to just sit there and be like, what is wrong with this team? What is going on? And the first piece of business is the defense. Defensively, we went with the Dan Campbell playbook, coming with Ben Johnson, obviously, from Detroit. And it just... It's not what we're looking for, man. I think we had some good things, right? We had B.J. Ojulari pop up. The production was there. The consistency was not. So we're going to be going in a different direction on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know what kind of pool we're going to be getting here of coaches. I like the fact that we got, we got to make sure these guys want DC jobs. Buffalo defense, Rams, Miami, Baltimore. I'm not going to lie, I have a preference, and I only will say that preference if it's available. It's not available right now. I think once we sim maybe a little bit into the offseason, more names will become available. But I've heard rumors that the Jets defense is pretty fun. So And I want to stay in a 4-3. I don't want to go to a 3-4. Like I was saying, maybe Baltimore is interesting, but that's a disguised 3-4 defense. I don't know. I really would like to stay in a 4-3. So hopefully more names become available. Not having to press the issue here. Same goes with the ownership of this team. We're not going to dwell on it too much because there's still nothing concrete. But I can say the ownership status of the Cardinals is going to be very similar to how we saw the Commanders handle themselves, where it's like a full year of names coming out to potentially bid on a franchise. And I think next offseason will be the deciding factor. So we got a nice little period to determine just what is going to happen with this. But we did establish that the Cardinals' current owner, Michael Bidwell, is probably the worst owner now in the NFL, now that the Commander situation and Dan Snyder's all rectified itself. And what we can say at the beginning of this 2024 year is that the NFL has agreed, very similar to with Dan Snyder, that it is in the best interest of the league to sell the team. Now, a lot of bidders are coming in. Is it going to revolve around relocation? I can't confirm and or deny any of those clearances, but I will say the one funny thing that has happened is that there is a group assembling to place a bid here that is called the Goon Group. That's all we know. Goon. Goon. I don't know if it stands for anything, but right now it's led by Ndamukong Suh, who's like surprisingly very good with his money. So I don't know, obviously there's going to be other backers, but they're using Ndamukong Suh because of his ties with the NFL as kind of the face of this Goon Group. And I also heard that Richie Incognito and some of those other guys are piling on their money to potentially get into team ownership. That is really the only update as of right now, but for the most part, it's not going to, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to be finalized till next offseason. We're going to have all year 3 of this Cardinals franchise to dwell and get updates about the sale of the team. But we can confirm at this point there will be a sale, and we're going to try to remove a terrible person from the upper echelon of power in the NFL by getting rid of Michael Bidwell. Oh no, my OC got poached! We said 1 week in my offense. We have the number 1 offense in the NFL. Okay, well, first piece of business, we need to get, regardless of scheme, an offensive coordinator that is QB guru. So we got Jim Allen here. No relation to Tim Allen. We got Jim Allen. It's really the only guy we can go with. Okay. Definitely, at any point. Rebuilds, main series, I am looking for QB guru on the offense. So that's what we got here. We have 250. Well, I don't want to. No! Why is that button so close? Sorry, I have. Man, if he's gone, if I can't hire this guy. There we go. Sorry, I had to think it over again, man. I'm impulsive. Jim Allen. And then we're going to bump all these up. First and foremost. Because I need Kyler Murray hitting the ground running with as much stats that he could possibly have to get us back into the playoffs, get us back as the number 1 offense. Okay, we can't get all of the throw powers back. That's fine. But now we need a defensive coordinator. I wish I could hire head coaches. Come on, we have such a desirable job here. There's only 3. There's even less. Buffalo, Rams. You're not always going to get... We'll go Buffalo. I don't hate Buffalo because Buffalo ultimately is a defense that Sean McDermott. He's one of the last understudies, disciples, if you want, of the late great Jim Johnson in Philadelphia. He's the best defensive coordinator I've ever seen. So we're running a little bit of a Jim Johnson defense going forward. All right, I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic. This is not going to be a defense that ranks 31st in like every category. With $46 million of salary cap room, which is not crazy, I think we're probably just, Gardeck. Some of these guys, most of these guys are role players. Will Hernandez at 29. I guess you enter the territory of can I just draft a guard and save? And that's not a ridiculous contract. He's still solid. I think if I let him hit the open market, how about this? I'll offer him this 1-year deal. If he takes it, fine. If not, I might still come back on the open. But look, he wants to be a part of this. We could still draft a guard to be a successor. This is definitely going to be the last contract we offer him. But, I mean, he's been solid. That right-hand side of the offensive line been pretty strong for us. Mock Draft 3 just came out. This is definitely a draft class because we're not picking top 5. We're not even in the area code of picking top 5. I'm personally, much like you guys, not as familiar with the draft class in terms of finding studs, which I'm sure we will be very, very shortly. And the current mock has us going with a wide receiver, Steven Archibald out of Oregon. Deep threat, B catch of traffic, A deep route running, B release. If he runs a 4, this guy runs like a 4.2. I might not disagree with this potential mock draft because I mean, where do we really need to go? I think this draft here, last draft was like learning about everybody because everything was on the table. Outside of really the decision that we weren't going to move on from Kyler Murray, we just need the best player available. But with our roster having such a quick turnaround, who is the missing piece of a Ben Johnson offense? Who is the missing piece of this new Jim Johnson style defense? And I think we're going into this. I don't want to come out and outright say that we're going to be looking for depth, but I do think a potential, if there's a tackle, is BPA. And usually when you get that late in the first round, there's not going to be like a true understudy for Humphreys. But you look at everything else. I mean, the running back spot, Roosevelt Bonds did suffer the injury there. He's out for 2 more weeks. I mean, he'll be back for the beginning of the regular season. And him and Calvin Austin's a great 1-2 punch. We're still rocking and rolling with Kyler Murray. But I definitely think another wideout could be interesting just because, you know, Hollywood Brown's getting up there a little bit. What's he, 27, 28? So the regression could start hitting. And I'm never going to want to say we don't need another weapon there. So I'd say wide receiver, offensive lineman, maybe BPA if it's an offensive lineman, a wide receiver on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, D-tackle, for sure. Another pass rusher on the other side of Ojulari. Kaiser White is going to free agency, but I mean, we primarily just run 2 linebackers anyway. But I do think getting a little bit more depth at linebacker, not necessarily first round type depth at linebacker, will be important. I mean, we feel good about the rest of the secondary. Safeties are on point. 3 superstar dev corners with like a decent depth. CJ Henderson and Francois there behind him. So I think D-tackle might be one of our biggest needs. A depth linebacker. Pass rush, if pass rush is BPA, but you know, where we're picking late first round edge rushers that are really, really good aren't on the board more often than not. Wide receiver, if it is that Archibald guy, I mean, I would take that speed here. Fits what we're trying to build. But it's a weird draft. Last draft was any and all. We have a bunch of ammunition. Let's go get the best players we can, which we did in-house and Kenny Hodges. This year, it's about kind of filling in the holes where we can. And where we pick late in the first round, I think it's, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not over the moon about our draft position and where our roster stands in terms of like hitting on a first round pick that's going to contribute right away. But we'll see how it comes out. So after highlighting kind of what positions, what areas I want to improve the squad, quick recap of where the prospects kind of align with that. And looking at wide receiver, this would be a little bit of a surplus requirement, maybe more of a luxury pick at this position. But Adonis Knight and Steven Archibald, obviously Archibald currently mocked to us, I'd be in. I mean, before we can even truly start to decide, we got to get to the combine first. I got to see what kind of players these guys are. But obviously, with Archibald at wide receiver, the projections, the ceiling of elite in pretty much every physical attribute makes me. He's definitely, I'll say right now, top 3 in the pool of players I think I would like to draft. Offensive line, tackle is where I just set my focus scouting, just because I thought all along getting a successor for DJ Humphries at left tackle and getting a long-term tackle pairing with Paris Johnson should be what we do. And it's, I want to say surprising. The fact that, like, look, Carl Nelson, 3 A's and a B, first, second round talent. 3 A's and a B here for Parker Lewis, second, third round talent. Like, the only thing that makes sense, and I think we'll see this once the combine drops, and the same goes for right tackle. We're seeing guys with great letter grades, multiple A's, and the projections are just, like, look at this guy. 2 A's, 2 B's for Bryant, third, fourth. The only thing that makes sense, if I had to call it right now, these guys are going to have terrible bench presses. These guys are going to have sub 30 on the bench press, which, you know, matters. How much does it matter? How much can you write that player off? I can't say for sure, but I think that's probably the reason. And I'd love to see, like, if that's what I just deciphered there. Could use a guard. Obviously, we just re-signed Will Hernandez. Not, Eugene Rudd for a first rounder, but like again, we just saw those tackles. You see these letter grades. Maybe if Rudd has a really good bench press, the talent grade would kind of be more in line with a guy that you'd see 3 Bs and an A. However, I think the one guy so far, like the value pick, the guy that I want to target late, Trevor Hurst, third, fourth rounder, looks to be pretty solid. 6'5", 310 out of Miami, double Bs. Doesn't look like he's gonna be crazy or anything like that, but he looks like a safe pick. B pass block, B run block. Has a chance, look at that, elite acceleration, ceiling, agility, change of direction, great strength. I think he is definitely going to be a guy that, third, fourth round projection. But I think if we are there in the second round and our board's kind of shot, I think Trevor Hurst is certainly a name that I'm circled as a understudy to come in under Will Hernandez. Now, defensively, kind of broke it down. D tackle, right? So when you look at D tackle, I'm going to tell you right now, the D tackles itself doesn't look particularly... maybe we'll get something at the combine that looks good. Or Braylon Duval has a finesse move. C-power. I mean, this guy could be good for like undersized interior lineman. Let me see the combine. Elite acceleration potentially, jumping speed. I'm interested in Braylon Duval. But for a more traditional defensive tackle, I think we got to look at a 3-4D at an Amari Rutherford out of South Carolina. 6'5", 315, A tackle, B power, C finesse. Has a chance for elite strength. I'm going to be very interested to see what that bench press is. It's high 30s. If he could squeak into the 40, I usually don't see 40 plus on a defensive end, but if he can, that could be an interesting pick. I think in this year's official trade up and get that player type opportunity that we had with Marcus House last year, I think that's Angelo Richards, the pass rusher here to Washington State. A power, A tackle, look at his ceiling. Elite acceleration, agility, jumping, speed, strength. Now, I don't know what it would cost to go up and get an Angelo Richards. I don't know where he's currently. I mean, it's only Mach 3. Things can continue to change a little bit. But it is, we're going to have a considerable trade up. Right now, he's going top 3. And for us to make essentially 20, I don't know what that would cost. I mean, in a perfect world, there is value in Boogie Basham, right? He had 6-7 sacks. I don't know. We'll try. I'll kick the tires because I think that is the guy. That is the guy of all the guys that if we had to move up. But we got to be realistic here. We are not a team is he going to make that much of a difference next season? Is he a win or lose? If we don't get Angelo Richards, we have no shot at coming back next season, becoming one of the best teams in the NFL, and becoming legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Probably not. So we got to tread. If the right deal can strike, I think we jump all over it. We'll see at the end of free agency. If we want another pass rusher, Nasir Woods would also have to trade up in this scenario, but obviously not as much. A tackle, A pursuit, B block shed. Athletically speaking, I mean, a lot of these guys, we just need to see the combine, elite acceleration, speed, and strength here for Woods. He also has A finesse move, B block shed, A tackle. Good. This guy looks really good, especially the combine hits. I think that is also a very like where's he going right now in the mock draft? If we can't get Archibald, whatever his name is, Richards, Woods also look, and there you go. You still got to go top 10. There is no deals. There is no discounts to be had right now, which makes me think it's a weak draft class. If all these guys here are kind of going a little bit higher than I would have guessed, it might not be the strongest draft class. So we have a couple pass rushers. If we want one, we're going to need to trade up. Looks like DB is a strength, but we got 3 superstar corners. Our safeties are on point. I don't think we're necessarily going, unless it's like a BPA or the board shot and we can't trade out of it, I think we're going to be fine there. So one thing for sure is outside of trading up, outside of staying put, this is not a free agency class that is going to be dictated by the draft. I don't see any player in this draft that is going to make me avoid signing a player on the open market. I think we're going to need to be aggressive here in free agency. We're going to be smart with our money. And I'm going to try to get as good as we possibly can so that we don't have to have a situation where we're going to this draft having to draft a starter. Combine has finished right before the start of free agency. So I'm just going to look here. Adonis Knight, elite strength, ran a 4.4. 320-yard shutouts, not great, but at 6'4", 230. Interesting. Steven Archibald. A lot of experts think we're going to be in for him. He has elite speed, ran a 4.28. 3-cone 20-yard shuttle, not as good as good as I would want it to be for a guy that would be a luxury pick. On top of that, I mean, this is just kind of my favorites right now. I want to look at Rudd. What was his bench press? Okay, elite strength, kind of what we're looking for. Actually, let's get out the favorites. I also want to see the tackles. These tackles that did not post, look at this. I guarantee bench press sucks. That's the only thing that makes sense. His bench press is going to be in like the 20s. I know it! It's like this is my job. I guarantee every time you get a tackle at it, and that does not scare me off that player. Maybe at that round, like if it's the first round, late first round, I might pass a little bit. But you're getting a good player, technically really good player, obviously by the letter grades, but their bench press kind of butt cheeks. I bet you Nelson doesn't have the strongest bench press. 33, yeah, not elite strength. I bet you when you go to the right tackle, some of these other guys with crazy letter grades. Look at this guy. 2 A's and a B. Tim Glenn. What's your bench press saying? Actually, not that bad. Well, what about you, Mr. Amari Bryant? Show me your 26 reps. 33, okay. Can't put everybody in a box here. So, somewhat, okay. What about we got for pass rushers here? Angelo Richards. Are you going to make me fall in love and have to trade up? Elite acceleration, great speed, great strength. So didn't have the best role, but look at that. Top 3 in the 40-yard dash, top 5 in the bench press, first in the 3-cone, first in the 20-yard shuttle. I'll say at least at minimum, I'm going to kick the tires on a trade-up. What about Mr. Nasir Woods? Top 10 pick. What did your combine look like? Didn't get the elite rolls that you're hoping for. Elite acceleration, but only great in speed, great in strength. Okay. And with that, I think the last player I really would want to check out, we had 2 D linemen there. I get off my favorites. I don't care. All regions. I want to look at that defensive end convert here and Amari Rutherford. What was your strength? He had elite projection strength, 38 on the bench. Good. I would have loved to see him be first. And then we had that undersized D tackle Duval, who had a shot to have an outstanding combine, and he does. Elite acceleration, jumping, and speed. And the bench isn't that bad. Obviously, he's 6'5", 291, so he's smaller than some defensive ends. But that's good to know. That's good information. So for free agency, just a general curiosity. What do we got? Jordan Love, Jared Goff hitting the open market at running back. Nick Chubb is going to be a big fish. 9 teams currently have bids on Nick Chubb. Kamara. I mean, again, we're not in the market here at all. We're very confident with our running back room. Ricard, best fullback maybe in the NFL. Wide receiver, got Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, Nico Collins. It's like a better version of what we have. That's an interesting one. You throw him in as our wide receiver 3 and move off from Mapletron, or just have Mapletron kind of slide down the depth chart there. Quez Watkins, channel legend. He could be like a late effort signing. Why not add some speed there? You need to be out of the league. This guy needs to be out of the goddamn league. Right now. What do we got to tackle? Any franchise tackle? Ooh, not a bad role. Cam Robinson's an interesting name. 26 there for Jedrick Wills. But I just think with Humphreys not being a liability, I think the play to get his successor is very much just draft one. Get one that's on a rookie contract. Get one even in the first round that you get that 5th-year option. Gives you another year of development. Interior line, nothing too crazy here. Not really seeing much. What about in pass rush? We do need pass rush. We got Cam Jordan, who has regressed bad. That is, I'm not going to say shocking, but that is rough regression. We are using Mr. Hurricane's regression slider, so we are going to see older players regress a little bit differently versus if we're just doing default. Milton Williams. Ooh. That's expensive, though. That is interesting, though. Milton Williams, interior, very similar to that D tackle that Duval, right? You get a guy that complements our nose tackle. He's 6'3", 290, interior pass rusher, has a dev trait, athletically a monster. 86 acceleration, 83 speed, 88 tackle, 84 strength, 88 power move. That is a lot. That is expensive. $16 million a year. But that could be a splash move for us. Okay. That's because I'm not seeing a whole lot. Carl Granderson there hit the open market. John Grenard. Like, no one here's an upgrade over Boogie Basham right now. Matt Judon, veteran Owe, big-time athlete. Again, not really an upgrade. JFK would be interesting, but I'm not paying fucking edge rusher money to bring him in. Baron Browning. I mean, we're looking for that third linebacker. Not going to be necessarily a starter, but if we can get a decent depth linebacker here, I wouldn't hate that. All these guys. I don't want any of these old players. Jack Gibbons. I don't want a 79 speed linebacker. We got Chris Barnes, Chad Muma. Ivan Pace. 2470. What's Muma? 2470. 2673. 85 speed, 82 acceleration. I'll go with the better athlete here. Let's get Muma. We'll throw him a little offer here. 2 years. And again, we're good in the secondary. We got Greg Newsome. That's going to be a big signing. Hopefully he stays out of the division. Justin Reed at safety. Not much at safety. Go more so the veteran route. Ooh, McPherson at kicker. I mean, we're good. We got a generational kicker. Okay. So it comes like to Milton Williams or to not Milton Williams? That is the question. Pretty damn good. Is he better than the D tackle though that we found? That is the question. Because there's no discount being had here. I believe he left Philadelphia to go to Seattle. Can I see his stats from last year? Jesus Christ. 58 tackles, 13 TFL. 2 years with Seattle. He has 30 TFLs, got 11 sacks last season for Milton Williams, former Eagle. I'll offer him a neutral offer here. What it looks like. And it comes, wow, staggeringly in the lead. So Milton Williams, Chad Muma. First round of negotiations, they buy in. And here I am. Milton Williams, a pick that wouldn't happen in real life for the Philadelphia Eagles. I didn't crap all over it. This was the first of like, we drafted this guy, LA Tech, Louisiana Tech. We drafted because he was an athlete. He was a raw player, and I was kind of like, really? Project? He was a project. There's no other way to put it. Damn, man, this guy's developed. 11 sacks for a defensive tackle. That is what we need. Close the final window of stage one. We got Braven Jordan. We needed a third tight end. Thought he was elite at Miami. A little bit undersized at 6'3", 245. More of a receiver, but now it gives us three bodies there in case we continue just to struggle to keep Marcus House on the field with his stamina issues. Now the free agency dust is kind of settled. We're getting some retirements. I don't know if I went through this the last time we broke down the retirements. So quickly just kind of burning through some of the big names. Taron Armstead has retired. No team, I think, got robbed more than the Eagles. Harrison Smith retired, but Stafford retired. 2 quarterbacks on the Commanders. But look at this. Fletcher Cox, Slay, and Lane Johnson all retired for the Philadelphia Eagles. Tyron Smith gone there for the Cowboys. Trent Williams. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams looking to replace their tackles in this year's draft. And, of course, 2 guys I'd want to trade up for in mock draft 4 have all jumped up. Angelo Richards now projected to go 2 when originally he was 3. Nasir Woods projected to go 4 when I thought if we wanted, we'd have to trade up to 7. We're getting priced out, man. They are gentrifying this draft class very, very quickly of all the guys we've liked. What is the most updated one for us? We are currently projected to get... Ooh. Adonis Knight. Does that mean... Did the other wide receiver go up or did he fall? He fell. Especially after testing well. That is surprising. Okay. Mock draft 5. So this is essentially where these guys are going to be locked in. Angelo Richards at pick 2. I don't even, the combine wasn't as good as I think it would need to be. Like, he wasn't elite in enough things to make me say this guy is the Marcus House of defensive ends. Let's sabotage this draft, the next, maybe even 3 drafts worth of drafts to go get this guy. And same with Nasir Woods. That would have been nice if, trading up in the top 10, low 10s. That would have been attainable. Might have been 2 first-round picks. I think he would have been solid, but I think we've been priced out there. Rudd. I don't think we necessarily need to trade up for a guard right now. So the good news is that like everyone else we kind of liked is going to be in play at 28. Multiple players that we'd feel pretty happy with at 28. So that's good. For our 3 private workouts, I am going to take a look at Archibald just because he has the elite traits over Adonis Knight. I'm a little bit more intrigued because I feel like Adonis Knight, we got Mapletron for that. Archibald, however, we do not. Then it kind of comes, we don't need a defensive tackle anymore. We got Milton Williams, so Rutherford kind of off the board. Angela Richards kind of priced. I still want to see what's under the hood here on Duval. You never have enough D tackles there, but man, a little bit of a bummer that the draft. Okay, you know what we are? I want to scout that guard, Trevor Hurst, just because I'm pretty sure he's going to be good. So let's hammer home. He would be likely, if he's good, our 2nd round pick. So I'd love to scout. Now we're into the 3rd round. Who is projected to go 3rd round that I think would be of value to us? Brian, if he was there. It's one of those things. Even if I scout Richards and he comes back top 5 true talent, I think I've seen enough to be like, maybe not. Like, he might still be an 80 superstar or something like that. But, damn, I don't know. I don't really know where to look now. 1 extra spot. I guess we'll go Duval. Actually, you know what? Screw it. What if Adonis Knight comes back as like a top 5 player? And we find that out right now. He's currently projected to us. Let's just see. Free agent recap. The dust is settled. Let's see where some of these top names have signed and make sure hopefully none of them are in our division. Nick Chubb goes to the Bucks. Amari Cooper to the, finally getting Bryce Young some help. Even though he doesn't need any because they won the freaking Super Bowl. But that helps. DeAndre Hopkins going to the Giants. Greg Newsome going to the Packers. Wow. Cam Robinson's still out there with Holden. Milton Williams, that was a big fish for us. Happy with that. Devontae David's still out there. Wow. Surprising with some of the names. JOK going to the Eagles. That was a big get. Nico Collins pondered that potential signing. He goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jedrick Wills goes to the Colts. All in all, though, I'm happy that I'm not seeing, going within the division. I'm glad we're not seeing Nick Chubb sign for the Seahawks and Mari Cooper sign for the 49ers and all that stuff. So it's not like the NFC West got particularly strong in free agency, which is a win for us. All right, let's see our 3 focus scout players. What information did we gain? Great. Thanks for not giving me 100% either one. So Adonis Knight, A catching traffic, A catching, B release, 6'4", physical, elite strength, 4.41 at his pro days, his best number. What else have we got? Jesus, you got A catching traffic, B route running, B medium route running, A spec cat. I mean, he's good. No, I'm gonna guess 77 to 78. Archibald, B catching traffic, A deep route running, B release, C catching, but E, you get the athleticism here. 4.24, so he's gonna have 96, 97, 98 speed. B awareness, B catching traffic, A deep route running, B release, B run. Hey, run block. Usually you don't get speed guys that want to do the dirty work. A spec catch. He also looks pretty good. What about our guard here? My little diamond in the rough, Trevor Hurst. Double B's, A, got elite. I mean, we got to get this guy. This is going to be our 2nd round pick every day of the week. A impact, A lead block, B. Run block power, a little weak, but he has A finesse. That guy's going to be good. Really good. I'm going to say 74 hidden dev. Let's start the draft. And obviously this draft a little less climatic. As say last year's draft, we're not trading up. We're behaving. We're going to stay put. We'll be interested to go look at the ratings, right, of Woods and Richards for sure. But here at pick 28, and we can't let the ratings fool us. I think that's another thing that needs to be talked about. Can't let the ratings fool us when you look at our current wide receiver room. Because Hollywood Brown just doesn't make enough plays consistently enough for the squad. If the fact that he's like our highest rated skill position player was or has been for most of this franchise, he hasn't gone over 1,000. He's just kind of been a spot player here or there. And if you get someone that maybe light a fire under his ass, if you get someone that maybe makes him a trade piece, I think you need to pull the trigger. So maybe I'm falling in love with the speed here. Maybe I'm falling in love with the 4.24. Maybe it is annoying that there's two guys here, right? It is annoying that we have to clearly make a decision. But man, even he hasn't beaten the vert. Like the one thing for sure, not to play and do some insider baseball here, but like when you see the 6'4" guy and he has like a 40-inch vertical, you know he's going to be that like 6'4", 6'5" guy that's 9'9" jumping. You want to get all over that. Knight is not exactly that. So after studying the film, studying the tape, Steven Archibald, you are an Arizona Cardinal. You are maybe our wide receiver one of the future. All right, back on the clock at pick 28. And I'm thinking maybe we be more aggressive in the third round. Because, I mean, the next big name that we want to try to get is Trevor Hurst. But, like, there's been no movement on the guards front. And I almost feel like, you know, there's a shot he'd be there at pick 28 in the third round. But I think we just keep Simmons a little bit into the third round. And once maybe even just one of these right guards goes, we trade up in the third round. That's not going to cost us necessarily an arm and a leg. So outside of that, if we're going to pivot and go somewhere else, where do we go? We did scout a lot of the tackles, and there's not really, literally all the tackles got pick dry. It was not a lot of depth to the tackle class, so that's, you know, we got to pivot there a little bit. As far as players that were interested, Duval is still there at D tackle, which we could do that for sure. A couple nice linebackers. I mean, we just don't need linebackers. We got DeMonte Griffith, A block shed, A pursuit, elite speed, even though 4'6", right? He's elite speed for being grouped up with edge rushers. Quentin Silas, B block shed, A zone coverage. Way better athlete. But again, third, fourth round. Like, that seems to be like the money round right now for players that we like. What do we got? DeMarcus Collins, who also has A zone coverage, 6'3", 245, elite speed. Very similar to the last situation. What do we got at corners? Or any just like stud corner that people are just outright avoiding for some reason? Will Grant out of SMU, B catch, B zone. Oh, not particularly fast. I mean, this guy here is A-man, B zone. Heath Beckett, 6'2", 205 out of the Ohio State. Elite acceleration. Strength is on point. We have depth, too. Like, it's not even one of those things you can justify. Like, oh, you can never have enough. We have depth at corner. Oh, this guy, Brett Yarbrough out of Miami, the U. A hit power, A tackle, C zone, 6'1", 214. Doesn't necessarily have the cheesy U speed. So I'm thinking, you know what? Just in terms of players that we've liked, I think we go Duval, continue to add some depth there to the interior. I'm intrigued by the athleticism. Even with the signing of Milton Williams, you can never stack enough talent. So in the second round, out of the Ohio State, Braylon Duval, welcome to Arizona. Hidden Dev, let's go. 86 acceleration, 85 strength. That'll do. All right, the first right guard went off the board. I'm not going to mess around just because, especially now, our board kind of is starting to settle. So I want that 7th pick in the third round from the Vikings. Hopefully they are not going to absolutely rob us blind of what they want. What do you want? What are you looking for in return? You're looking for a future 2nd, 4th, 7th. That's a little rich. Let's go back. Let's wait again. This guy, like, we're at the goddamn, we're playing blackjack. We're getting pretty close to 21. Let's see if we can keep waiting a little longer, because I don't want to give up a second. God, they've gone back-to-back right guards. Can we get into the top 10? Okay, we have to go now. He's literally the top guard available. God damn. Oh, my God. We're getting hit again. So we got Marco. No. You can't get out of it with a second. They will take Will Hernandez. Let's do it. Get rid of the veteran. We'll get rid of our starter. The plan all along was to draft his successor. Because Will Hernandez played well last year. I think he only gave up 1 sack. But fortune favors the bold here. Trevor Hurst. The U. We gave up a 79 normal. Have a dev trait. Yes, let's go. Oh yeah, that's good. We need that. That's huge. Back in the 3rd round, we have another pick at 28. Which, I mean, our board at this point doesn't look the best. Still have one of the linebackers that looked interesting here in Quentin Silas. B, block shed, A zone coverage. For whatever it is worth, does have great acceleration, great speed. Sure, could be BPA. Oh, we can't miss another one. Now we're just in like luxury pick territory. From here on out, there's no. And look, we got a very interesting wide receiver here. Nate Hilliard, 6'5", 226 out of Nebraska. B catching, B release. And he comes in with almost a 40-inch vertical at 6'5". 20-yard shuttle's not too bad. A break tackle. B spec catch. C short. I mean, that's just... I think we're probably going to lose our streak of hidden dev players. But from here on out with our day 3 picks, I think it's just about acquiring the best developmental guys we possibly can. I think Hilliard, very interesting. Especially, you know, Mapletron. We did pay him decent money. Could be a cap casualty at some point. So Hilliard does get... We can't miss! So now we're into the 5th round. We have a couple picks here, and this is my board, if you will. There's a couple tackles I like. There's a linebacker here, Skylar Richmond, UDFA, 3 Bs. Comes in with great speed, good jumping, great... I mean, so I do think we're going to end the streak. However, the last shot before we start just running off some of these UDFAs... This is old school pick. This would have been a baller pick last year. This year, might hold. I literally went through all the tight ends. We only have 3 tight ends. Ideally, you get 4. So that last tight end spot, give me a blocker. We just signed Brevin Jordan free agency. He's pretty much a wide receiver. So we got Cam Rollins out of Oregon. Has a run block. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Does he have elite strength? Because in last year's Madden, wasn't always 100% success rate. But if you got a guy with a run block and elite strength, there was a shot that they were going to be an X factor. I would love to see. I would love that mystique to continue with this guy to have a hidden dev. If not, I mean, it's just a 4th tight end, primarily a run blocker. But if this guy has an X factor, I'm going to shit a brick. Pardon my French. And every one of we somehow, I'm not going to say we're topping because last year's draft was ridiculous. Every pick has a dev job. No one's better than me at this shit. We got back-to-back picks here. Now we're just going to, I'm pushing the hidden dev streak now. You're not going to go through a whole draft class. Now we're going to start grabbing some of our UDFAs. First, we're going to start with Donovan Tyson. 3 Bs and a C, especially for a UDFA is not bad. And his bench press is not terrible. It's not like 25, 26 like you see sometimes with linemen with good overall letter grades. So, I mean, he's going to be a nice depth tackle for us. All right, I think we follow. I'll grab the line back here. We won't just go completely on the offensive line here. Again, solid athlete, especially letter grades for a UDFA grade player. Throw him in here. At worst, special teamer. Practice squad guy. And with our final pick, I'm going to make a call here. Let's see. Tevin Spence does have the A impact, but I mean, who gives a shit about impact blocking? Look in the combine. Not the best. So we got B awareness, A impact, B lead, C. Well, let's look at the low points. D in finesse, D in power. So his pass block sucks. Stamina kind of sucks. Josh Hale at base, better grades. A little bit better of an athlete. The skills itself, getting kind of in the ballpark. So we'll finish the draft here. What could be another iconic franchise draft. We'll get Josh Hale, tackle out of Mizzou. I want to be honest, how do you follow up a 13-4 season with a very, very disappointing postseason? Well, having a strong free agency class, getting a top 5 player, I think, overall in Milton Williams, and then having the draft that we just had. Steven Archibald, first rounder, pick 28, 77 overall with the hidden dev trait. Don't know where he's going to necessarily fall on the depth chart, but look at the athletic. Now, I'm a little bummed out. There's such a discrepancy between his speed and acceleration. Maybe it takes him a little bit to get up there to go full speed, but 97 speed, 93 acceleration, 81 catch and traffic. 80 catching is not bad. 82 deep route running is outstanding. 85 spec, 92 agility, 90 jumping, 95 change of direction, 93 kick return. So like that, even then, if he can't find his way, if he doesn't have a great preseason, we're definitely going to be able to utilize him as a return specialist. So very happy with that selection. And again, long-term, big picture, you know, I literally was threatening until, because it almost feels like every year Hollywood Brown does nothing, and then near the end of the season makes a couple of big plays that makes you go, okay, you saved your job. Yeah, that's not a healthy relationship to have with one of your highest overall skill position players. So things get into the trade territory. I think Archibald has the skill set, has the profile to fill in that Hollywood Brown role. Second round, we got Braylon Duval, making another hidden dev. That's 2 if you're counting at home. 73 interior pass rusher, very similar to Milton Williams. If we didn't get Milton Williams, I guess the question would be, if we didn't get Milton Williams, this would have been our guy that we would have hoped to plug and play as a starter. I'm glad we got Milton Williams, because obviously there's a gigantic discrepancy in terms of the base overall. But this guy, 85 strength, 82 finesse move, 86 acceleration, 78 speed, is athletic for an undersized defensive tackle, 81 pursuit as well. So I think he'll be a nice, healthy part of that D-line rotation. Trevor Hurst was kind of the diamond in the rough that we saw all along. Very happy that he is a dev trait player. Make it 3 dev trait players for those of you counting at home. Out of Miami, 87 strength, 89 lead block, 90 impact block. He is a guy that you definitely want to get out in space, and he's going to be looking to throw a pancake or two. The other third-round pick, we got Quentin Silas. This was kind of a very surprise. I thought this guy was going to be average. 74 hidden dev rookie. He is better than Chad Muma, who we signed in free agency, which is a little bit of a bummer, because it wasn't a big contract, but that is still money we could have saved. In Quentin Silas here, 74 run stopper, so he is also a scheme fit, 86 tackle, 82 hit power, 85 speed, 89 acceleration, 80 pursuit. I mean, the coverage could be a little bit higher, but I'm not going to nitpick, especially for a third-round pick. Outstanding value. 4 hidden dev trait players. And then in the fourth round, we get our 5th hidden dev. Rating's not great. Definitely a developmental player, but Nate Hilliard giving us 5 hidden dev players. 68 physical, 6'5", 226 out of Nebraska. 89 speed, 87 acceleration, 81 catch of traffic, 84 spec, 92 jumping. I mean, nothing that necessarily stands out outside of really his frame, but I'm never going to be too salty, too upset about a nice developmental wide receiver there. Hopefully he can show us a thing or two during the preseason. And our 6th hidden dev player. This is one that I'm most excited about because he did check a lot of boxes that I think might be a stud. And if we can end up having Marcus House as our X Factor receiving tight end, and then we have Rollins, who might be something. I don't want to necessarily set him up for failure and say this guy's on X Factor, it's going to be a bummer, because outstanding value, 75 blocking. But even just the optics of we have now Marcus House, who, let's be honest, is pretty much a wide receiver. And then now we get out the gate an outstanding rookie blocking tight end. So the yin and the yang of that tight end room. Cameron Rollins here out of Oregon. Oregon Ducks helping out the Arizona Cardinals at your 80 speed. I mean, he's not even a brutal athlete, but 71 run block, which is pretty good. 78 impact block. I mean, this guy, you might as well make him goddamn fullback if you need to with the carrying and stuff. But very happy with that. And that gives us 6 hidden dev players in the draft. We got some nice depth here as well. Nothing too crazy. 65, 64 on the line. 63 for the linebacker. 6 hidden devs. You gotta love that. So follow. I mean, we also had other names that we were familiar during the process that I'm interested. Top pick, Rasheem Jones out of Clemson. 182 overall franchise tackle. I don't know if I want to peek the dev trade on all these guys. I feel like there's a little bit of mystery. I do want to peek the dev trade on 2 players for sure. And that is Angelo Richards, the man that we were thinking about potentially trading up for. And then it just became a little too expensive. 80 overall with a hidden dev trade. Would we have been happy? Or is this a guy that 80, great, but he's like a star dev or something like that. And you do have to be more so banking on the fact that he can win like defensive rookie year than go up dev. Okay, well, you know what? The process was right. We identified him as the best player in the draft. Probably is. 80, superstar, X Factor, Nasir Woods was the other player that we heavily considered potentially trading up, more so when he was at pick 7. He is a 75 normal dev. That would have been brutal. That would have been a bad pick. That would have been a bad, because we would have been aggressive if it had a trade up. Obviously, 75 is not a brutal starting point, but no dev trade is a little rough. Looking at the rest of the picks here. More so guys that we were kind of thinking about. That was really it for the first round, right? I don't think there was... Eugene Red, the guard, that we're like, maybe he's probably not worth the first rounder. 76 hidden dev. Not bad. But also, I'd rather where we got our guard in the third round with the dev trait versus, say, the first round. Your first round guard, you got to be close to an 80, right? Archibald, 77. So really for the first round, happy with where we're at. Going into the second round, the other big name is Adonis Knight at wide receiver. He was the guy that was mocked to us. It was obviously the decision to make either him or Archibald. And he is 77, but only a normal dev. Great athletic profile. Don't get it wrong. That would be a very fun player. 6'4", 230, 91 speed, 90 acceleration, 84 catch. We got 95 spec, 90 agility, 90 change. So that's a big-time athlete for that kind of athletic profile, which is pretty badass. Rutherford was another player we considered. More so moving him to D-tackle as before we signed Milton Williams. 74 normal dev for him. And again, this is just almost confirming like the process. We had our draft board. Was our draft board right? Were all these different scenarios, different potential players, the right type of guys? And so far, so good. I mean, maybe the dev traits are a little rough on some of them, but the players themselves are outstanding. I mean, look at this. The third round just stuffed with 70-plus rated players. This was another one. DeMonte Griffith, we thought about him potentially at the linebacker spot. He's 76 with a dev trait. God damn. Very impressive. I want to see that. There was that nose tackle. Ja Reddick. Now, easy pick. Wouldn't have been a gloat pick. 6'1", 384 hidden dev. Damn. I mean, we got Alex Jones, same kind of vibe last year. We would just be hoarding at that point. Maybe let's now we're in the round 4. Let's just see who got the value picks. Highest rated player in each round. Did we make the right call? Zach Clayton, corner there. Not bad. What about in the 5th round? Ooh, it is Cam Ross. Love seeing that. Oscar Worley, 74 corner. Again, not all those guys were on our board. Stan Stein, 74 tight end, also value. Kowalski was on my short list just because he had A catching, which is tough. 73 slot. Another guy that just the process checks out. And no real draft diamonds or anything like that in the 7th round. So all in all, very, very happy. 6 hidden dev players for your Arizona Cardinals. That is outstanding. So we'll wrap this one up with our preliminary preseason depth chart. Next episode will be the entirety of the preseason as well as week 1 of the regular season. I just like kind of grouping the offseason in one singular episode. And hey, we got some competition as things open up. Hurst, the rookie, is getting an opportunity to start at right guard, but John Gaines also been here for a minute, knows the system, knows the scheme. He has an opportunity. Rollins is going to be back up for sure, but the question is he better suited to be the running back? Do we cut ties with James Conner? Is he a cap casualty, the last wave of cuts? Do we get rid of one of the holdouts? Him, and look, Corey Clement's down to a 60 overall. Regression is real. But the running back strike, I don't know the optics of that necessarily. We'll play that one by ear. For the wide receiver, I mean, it's great that Roosevelt Bond's healthy after the late season injury. Probably not going to play a lot during the preseason. We got Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore, Archibald, and with the selection of Archibald, is that going to make Hollywood Brown uneasy? Is he going to hand in his transfer request and want to get traded before the deadline, before the regular season starts? We're going to have to pay attention to that. Maybe even take a couple feelers and see what kind of value could potentially be there for Hollywood Brown. And obviously, we're going to go through the preseason and see if who could step up. Man, I like doing the preseason because you always have, once all your backups are in, those couple guys. And those are the couple guys that we love to find here on this channel. Defensively, not a lot of turnover. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of opportunities for more reps. I would say the big thing I want to see Duval on that defensive line, the rookie. I think he's going to get plenty of opportunities. Let's see where he can kind of fix in to the pass rush. Silas here, the linebacker, outstanding value. Probably our best value pick of the entirety of that last draft. Is he going to play a lot? I don't know. But the fact that he pretty much made Chad Muma, who was going to be a starter, depth, that is, pretty damn good right out the gate. Plus, we're going to get a little bit of Keith Taylor in and around the preseason. Special teams, we got McQueen. We got our generational type kicker, Archibald, on special teams, which we'll keep for the time being. But again, if the Hollywood Brown situation kind of plays out potentially in the way of a trade, we definitely don't want Archibald with a chance of injury returning kicks. We feel pretty good. And then here's kind of, it might change here or there. I definitely want Williams in the slot. Definitely want Ojulari and Basham. Williams and Duval as our interior pass rushers. Collins Papo as Seb linebacker makes sense. Bonds and Austin. I guess the slot wide receiver position will be up for grabs if we don't trade Hollywood Brown. I mean, Archibald might be able to find his way in the slot. If not, we might just de facto that to Rondale Moore, which is a position that he has proven and established himself at. But it's going to be a big preseason, fellas. So I hope you guys did enjoy the draft. 6 hidden dev players here in the Cardinals franchise as we gear up for a little bit of a revenge tour after being one and done last year. Very disappointing season. We're also going to try to continue another year of chasing a freaking superstar dev for Kyler Murray. We're going to go hard during that training camp to get him. I don't know if you have a better luck, better RNG, better odds, whatever you want to call it, during this preseason training camp to get your dev traits off of gold medals. But we got to be locked and loaded for that one. You're not going to want to miss it. So thank you very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what one rookie you think is going to make the biggest impact for this upcoming season. Or who's your favorite rookie that we got from this draft class? Do you think that tight end is going to be an X factor? Let all that down in the comment below. And I'll see you on the next one. Until then, it's your boy C4 saying peace. I love ya. Have a good one.